Hey guys, it's me, Christelle. I just met up with some friends of mine and I had a really good conversation, and we were talking about, what it means to run and I guess kind of how it feels, and, what my thoughts or feelings were about it. And here's where I'm dead ass honest. It is really intimidating. There are, lots of different procedures. So for example, in order to start a campaign, I don't know if y'all are aware, and in case you're not, just like I wasn't, I'm going to tell you, specifically for City of Houston races, I'm sure other races have their own rules, so look up the area that you're trying to run in, look up your rules for that, locally and state rules. If you're running for a congressional race, of course, look at the United States rules for that as well, because there are always ethics committees to adhere to their rules and that kind of thing. So for us, basically what we have to do is submit a treasurer form, and that means that we get somebody who is going to kind of be in charge of the money, when it comes and when it goes, so what our expenditures are and that kind of thing. I'm very lucky in that I have a friend who is a CPA who was down to ride, and so we filed our forms, and so that's how the campaign actually started. After you do that, that kind of triggers something, though. It triggers your campaign beginning, and then also kind of triggers the fact that you're gonna have to start filing reports, finance reports and that kind of thing. And it's really important that you get those right, because it kind of shows everybody who's donated to you, how much they, donated. I think that's in the reports too. So that way people have an idea of, kind of who you'll be listening to once you're in office, right? That's the idea, I think. Because otherwise people would just take money from all kinds of sources, and then nobody would know why they're voting real crazily once they're in office. So, so this is something that, to be honest with you, I'm kind of well, it's not in particular my thing, but I'm a smart person, so I can figure it out just like everybody else. But it's funny because I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and I was like, the finance reports! Because I had been online and kind of remembered something about needing a password, and you have to go to City Hall for that, and oh my God, City Hall isn't open on Saturday. So I had a little moment, but that's okay. I know a lot of people in campaigns, and they respond to me when I'm having my little 4 a.m. what am I doing? Kind of moments. So it will be fine. We have reports due on Monday, so that means that I'm going to go get my password on Monday morning. I can work on my finance reports right now because that's available. The Excel sheet is available. Luckily, the app that I use to take donations with works really well with finance reports, because they'll kind of give you all of the information to where it's super easy to report. So that's good. But yeah, so I'm kind of laughing at myself, because today when my friends were asking me how I felt and what it meant to me, it means a lot of different things to me. I'm very proud, but it's important that I acknowledge that, yeah, I have a doctorate. I'm a very smart person. I'm super published, whatever. And yeah, the process is intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. I would say if you're thinking about running sometime in the future, or maybe right now, get involved in hyper-local government. At least for me, it was really important to know what was going on, block by block, street by street, and then kind of getting a bigger picture from there. So do that, and then also, you'll start to make friends who are in different political campaigns and that kind of thing. Volunteer for a campaign, work on a campaign if you can, just so that you get a better idea and more comfortable with the process. I would say do something. so that you're not kind of running and being like, sometime in the future, here are the things I would think about doing. Because if you do that, like, I just feel like it's a, maybe this is like just a finer point, I just feel like it's a better, more solid ask. If you're asking for somebody's vote, it's a lot more solid if you're able to say, hey, this is what I've done. These are the things that I'm still doing. This is what I'm going to continue to work on, and, you know, other things as well once I get into office. So, just my humble opinion. But yeah, so starting a campaign, kind of intimidating, especially because I'm going for an at-large position. Especially for Latinas, it's a very ambitious thing to do, because in the history of the city of Houston, we have only ever had 2 at-large Latinos. So in our city council, we have 16 seats. I think it's, so some of them are districts, right? So A through whatever, like those are the letter districts. I happen to live in District H. But the at-large positions, there are several at-large positions. They were basically designed to keep minority voters from being able to have their representation. So thus far with Latinos, they have served their purpose quite well, in that, like I said, we've only had 2 Latino at-large council people, like, ever in the city. So, and, you know, like, part of the reason why we don't run for these positions is because of the history, right? The history doesn't look good, man. What's going on, Houston? You don't want to vote for us or what? But besides that, and I didn't necessarily mean to get into this topic right now, but I'm thinking about it, so I'm going to do it. This is my video journal, so it's not like my super tight talk about anything in particular, just kind of what I'm feeling and thinking during this process, and kind of giving you just a little bit of information as we go. But there's a reason why Latinos are not running for elected positions. Back in the day in Houston City Council, if you were a minority and you had an elected position, you were under a microscope. And it didn't matter if everybody else was doing the most egregious, unethical, illegal things. Who cares, right? But if you're a Latino and you're in an elected position, you actually have some power. People don't like that. So a lot of our Latino elected officials were investigated. They were put in jail. So for me, that's very much on my mind. I have a 10-year-old son. I'm not just running for the fun of it. I'm running because I want to show him how to stand up. I want our voting numbers to go up. I want somebody at the table who is willing to stand up for us and willing to speak up for us, and, you know, willing to make us part of the bigger picture here in Houston. But I do think about that. I do think about the fact that no matter what I do, it's likely that it's awful to say and think, but it's likely that people will try to kind of find something that I'm doing wrong. So it's on me to be as perfect as possible. Even still, though, if they put me in jail for some bullshit, y'all bust me out of that bitch, okay? I have a kid. I can't. He's very important to me. My freedom is very important to me. But in this country, in this city, this is what happened to Latino elected officials. And it doesn't end there, because to this day, even people on the right and people on the left will look at a Latino leader and say, well, they didn't do exactly what we wanted 100% of the time, so let's go ahead and investigate them. It's even happened recently. Like with Lina Hidalgo, she made a call people didn't like about a judge appointment, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Open Meetings Act violation, let's do an investigation. And when people start getting like that, to me it really feels like very rabid and racist, because the thing is that no elected official is going to make 100% of the calls that 100% of the people want. So, if the go-to answer is to always attack Latino leaders if we don't like something, and besides that, if we really, really don't like something, just go ahead and investigate them or call for an investigation, that's our go-to answer for things. I know Democrats don't want to hear that they're being racist. You are. It's something that the party's going to have to kind of look in the mirror about and think about, because how do you expect people to vote for your candidates when that's how you behave? It's not anything that I want to be close to, which is hard because, like a lot of my ideals and a lot of what I believe in could be considered liberal. I believe in second chances for people. I believe in a helping hand for people. The beautiful thing about Latino voters is that we actually have strong beliefs on both sides. And I believe in hard work. I believe in family. And not that any of these are, mutually exclusive, like one side doesn't believe in that, but, there are certain issues that, like, are closely identified with each party. So yeah, we've got some work to do in the Democratic Party, because you can't treat people that way and then expect them to vote for your candidate. It just doesn't work that way. So anyway, not to be like super melancholy or anything today, but just that is on my mind. So I know a lot of lawyers. Please watch every move that I make and help me all along the way, because I already know what I'm up against. Even as a candidate, I already knew what I would be up against. But here I am. So anyway, all right, y'all have a good night. Bye.